For as long as I can remember, I've struggled with perfectionism. It's a mindset where you feel like when you're doing something, everything needs to be perfect. Everything needs to be exactly the way you think it should be at every step of the way. A lot of times, I think a lot of people are successful in school or in business or in lots of aspects of their life, and they tend to be sometimes perfectionistic. And I think that's because the propensity to perfection often results in that person spending a lot of time, effort, and energy into making sure that, the important test goes well, or that the project is successful, or that the video is good. So, in this way, perfectionism is a double edged sword. It's dangerous because when you're too perfectionistic, it's almost addicting. And it can be great when the results show, but it can be debilitating and really something that prevents you from pushing out a big body of work. To talk about me a little bit, I started this YouTube channel over 2 years ago, and I only have 15 published long form videos. Um, to me, I feel like, working on a channel like this, even if it's a hobby for 2 years, I really wish I had have put out way more videos. And it's funny because there are so many videos that I have worked on only to abandon it halfway because I felt like it wasn't good. Scripts that I've written and rewritten over and over again. I have like a Google Drive full of just, video ideas or scripts or even just, almost completely finished, like 90% finished videos that I haven't published. My first video on this channel was a teaser trailer for the League of Legends 2022 World Championship featuring Faker and his esports team T1. I edited this video together over 4 days, doing literally nothing but sleeping, eating, and then editing. And then I published it like I think 2 days before the finals or something like that. And that video got a ton of views actually. It got about I think 40,000 to 50,000 views in the matter of like a day. Um, and it was pretty awesome to know that like my first ever public YouTube video got that many views. I think a lot of fans for League of Legends, especially from South Korea, really liked it, and I got tons of nice comments and feedback. But I'm sure that when you watch like a short video, that one was, I don't know, like literally, okay, here it is, 4 minutes long. People wouldn't expect that I spent like 4 hours just looking for the background music because it had to be perfect. Like I needed it to be exactly the right music, or I spent way too much time trying to match cut the transition to the beat of the music. Like this is that addictive side of perfectionism because it's almost self-indulgent. It's like obsessing over details that a lot of people, probably nobody except I, would ever notice. And after the first video, I felt really happy about sort of, in my head, like the success of the video. But that kind of, again, was a double edged sword because I felt now pressure to make something that was quote unquote good. I didn't want to put out something and for it to not get as much attention as the first one. And it took me a really long time between that first video and second video to kind of get the courage to post something again. And I did. And the second time I made something for the game Valorant, which was a tech shooter made by the same company that made League of Legends. And I was super into it at the time. But instead of making something similar to the first video where it's like a trailer, like a hype video for an esports tournament, I made it more personal. I, was talking about like my struggle to rank up in the game and become a better player. And I wanted to show people like how I was practicing and training to try to get better at the game. And it was supposed to be this kind of like series of me solo queuing in the game to get to a high rank, which is immortal in the game. And that video took ages and ages to script out, get all the background footage, edit all the clips, voice acting. Sorry, I say voice acting, but what I mean is voice narrating, right? Like speaking into the mic, in the way that I'm doing here. And I published a video and I was pretty happy with it. And that one got like a couple hundred views, and that didn't really go up. Even now, like a year later, like almost 2 years later, the video has like 800 views. So it's not that much. And I don't really know exactly what I didn't do well in that video. That not a bunch of people liked it. I tried following up with another video, and it was a second episode in that same Valorant series. That one I was really proud of because I had again like worked on this like crazy opening cinematic part. Um, Valorant to this day still doesn't have a replay system, which means you can't like go back into the game's engine to collect like shots and different angles of like the same moment in like cool ways like you can in like a bunch of other games. So what I did was I had a moment in a game that I thought was kind of like this kind of highlight moment. That was like a clip. I looked at what was happening on the map on the screen, and then I translated that into like a script. And then I got a couple of my friends to come into a custom game with me, and I literally directed each person to be like, okay, like I want you to do this. I want you to run here, and then I want you to like throw your grenade and blah 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 blah. And then I would go into the custom game as like an observer, and I would use my Xbox like One controller to like be the camera, and I would record my screen. I would record my screen as I was like swiveling and like hovering and zooming in and out of my friends like acting this thing out in an empty custom game. And then I would use all that footage and cut it up and put it together like it was that it was actually happening in real time. Now, bear in mind, like the important gameplay elements of that intro of me playing in first person are still accurate. It's just these like, in order to get sort of this background footage for these cool like shots of like the rays, the enemy rays, which is like a character in the game, like flying across the screen and stuff, I needed to make it myself because there was no other way to retrieve that information. And so I did that, and I thought it was super cool. And a couple hundred people watched it, and right now it's sitting at around 900 views, and that was kind of it. And again, I don't know why, but I had this expectation or this almost this hope that there would be a lot more people who cared about the video and wanted to watch it. um and so that really took sort of some of the wind out of the sails for me, I guess, because here I was really spending many days and a lot of time and energy working on the videos. And I loved working on the videos, right? Like I wouldn't be doing this, in my free time at all if I felt like, oh, I didn't get the views, so like I just want to quit now because I don't want to do it. There's definitely something that goes beyond chasing, online views and likes on YouTube. But I think that I was still looking for some sort of external validation to validate the amount of work and effort that I had put in to create the thing, to create the video. But, I didn't get that in those videos. So I stopped really making Valorant videos. And then by then, basically another whole year had gone by. It was 2023. And Faker had reached world finals again with his team. And so I made another sort of similar styled video, like sort of like hype video, grand finals teaser. And that one took like almost a full week of genuine, just nonstop grind. I was so tired and exhausted by the end of that. But yeah, this time the video length ended up being 2 times the last time. It was 9 minutes instead of 4 minutes. And I thought it was a pretty good video. It took a lot of energy to sort of find the clips and sort of find like interview moments, translate the interview moments, piece all the things together to make it feel like a cohesive narrative of like what the team had went through. And it was a pretty cool, like if you're not into League of Legends, it's obviously hard to know like why that storyline of that tournament is even cool. But the TLDR is like they were Baker, who is like the superstar. He had like a wrist injury, which means he couldn't really play for a while, and then his team got a substitute, but they didn't really perform very well, and they were really struggling. They almost didn't make it to the tournament, and then Baker like comes back like a hero, like Gandalf in Lord of the Rings at that moment, right? And then kind of saves them, wins and makes it into the tournament. And then from the tournament just starts beating everybody, gets to grand finals. Like it was kind of this cool, like almost like movie-esque um thing that was like happening in real life, you know what I mean? And that's what I captured, and I made the video and I edited it, and it was kind of like a continuation from the previous video because I start with the 2022 grand finals where they actually lose in the best of 5, and then that's the start of the new video, and then it goes into the whole year and kind of like really quickly summarizes like their losses and like struggles as a team, and then kind of like triumphantly like making it back to the biggest stage, to the finals again as a team, the same exact team that lost last year at the biggest moment. And so yeah, like that video I was super proud of the video. And then that one did again like pretty well, better than the first one. Got like I think 60 to 70,000 views right away, and then it peaked around at 86,000 videos. And so that was like awesome. But then I had this like problem of like, okay, when I make content about like Faker and League esports and this sort of trailer style, I get the views. But whenever I make stuff, about Valorant, and again, it being more personal and having like me as a human being involved, I'm getting like a significantly less amount of views. And that makes sense because Faker is a very popular person. And also, I was releasing the video right when like it was a peak of, people searching up for League of Legends World Championship content. So there's a lot of factors at play. But again, I was sort of grappling with like, do I want to just be this guy who makes, League of Legends esport content, or do I want to do other stuff? And the answer, I didn't really have to think much about it, because the answer was no, I have more things to say than just making, hype videos for esports. And so, I chugged along, made a couple more videos. I made a video of me and my friends playing Counter Strike. I made a video about this really cool indie game called The Short Hike. And I played the game, and then I reviewed it, and I gave my thoughts, and those picked up a couple thousand views. And then I started playing this new MOBA game called Dota 2. I say new for me, been around for a really long time, and I was kind of like trying to recreate a little bit of that. Okay, like I'm a beginner, I'm a noob, I'm coming from League of Legends, which is like this adjacent, like long distant cousin to Dota. And here is kind of like what happened when I played, and then that came out, and it did that surprisingly decently well. I think it got like a couple thousand in the first few days, and it went to like 10,000, but then it just kind of like, it stabilized, and that was kind of like it chilled there. And then I kind of like took some time off from making videos, because I was like, man, I'm making videos, I'm putting them, and it's fun, but it's like really taking a lot of energy and time and effort, and I don't know if I'm like doing this the right way. I kept feeling like, pushing videos out felt very hard, because there was always a constant battle between like, in my head, this is how I think the video should go, and then as I'm making it, it's like, oh man, like this is taking so much work and effort. Like I want this, I have this vision of this video in my head, but in order to bring that to life, it just takes a long amount of time. And so in order to try to break that, I started doing more videos kind of like the one I'm doing now, which is where I just kind of grabbed a mic and just started talking. Like I literally just started talking, It's kind of weird if you think about what I'm doing right now. I'm just in a room talking to myself. Um, but that's what I did, and I yapped and yapped and yapped for like 18 minutes about a random topic that I really thought a long time about for my by myself, and it was kind of about this idea of older games um, feeling more fun than newer games, and it's like the whole like games used to be better in the ye olden days conversation. Like why aren't games fun anymore? It's kind of something along those lines, right? And I just happened to have a footage of me playing PlayStation 1 game, Pepsi Man. So I just slapped the background video on there, and I put on me talking, and that was it. And I literally remember when I published the video, I told myself mentally, probably nobody ever is going to watch this video. No one. Because who in the world, their mind, would care about this kind of video where like a guy sits around talking about what he thinks about modern video games versus old retro video games and how retro games are better? Why would they watch your video on that, dude? Like people don't even care about watching your video when you spent like tens, like maybe like 30, 40 hours of editing this like very specific curated content. This is like no one's gonna watch this. Surprisingly, people did watch it, and I was really really dumbfounded when like I just randomly checked my account like a week later, and it picked up like 7,000 views. Now, depending on if you've had a YouTube channel, if you're another creator on YouTube, or if you're just someone who just watches YouTube, 7,000 views might not be that much. But to a smaller channel like me, who again, like I said, I was putting in like 30, 40, 50, 60 hours, editing a video, and it wouldn't even break 1,000. 7,000 videos was like crazy. Like that, input to output ratio, you know what I'm saying, was kind of like surprising, right? And I experienced that firsthand. The next video, where I went back to the more highly edited, scripted, sort of retrospective on this really, in my opinion, super unique and cool PlayStation 1 game that was only released in Japan and Europe. And it was this like light gun game called Rescue Shot, and I did like this whole 9-minute video essay on like why this was like had really cool game design and blah blah blah, blah. And that got like 400 views, right? Again, you're seeing a pattern here. Like I'm investing a ton of time and effort into it, getting a couple hundred views, and then sort of feeling like almost like after I release a video, there's like this burnout because I just spent so much time like agonizing over like every little detail. Like the transitions need to be this way, and the background footage needs to be this way, and like I need to edit the script until it's better. And part of it is because I think I spend so much time watching awesome, like amazing YouTube content creators on this platform with some of like the craziest, like well edited, well scripted, just beautiful like pieces of art. One of my like heroes on YouTube is Core Gaming, and this guy Gerald, he does video essays on sort of like trends, topics, thought pieces on the FGC, which is the fighting game community. So like Street Fighter, Tekken, those guys. And I'm not a fighting game guy myself, but his videos are just so like appealing to like a more general and broader audience of people who play competitive games, that it really attracted me. And so I would watch his videos, and I would just be like blown away by how incredible those videos were. And I wanted to recreate some of that in my own. I looked up to those videos, and I wanted to kind of okay, let me see like what I can learn from them. And so I tried applying that to my videos, and yeah, I was definitely struggling. I was definitely struggling to figure out like what I can do better, how can I improve my videos in order to find the balance between talking about things I like, making content that I am proud of, and also at the same time aligning that with the interest of people watching my videos, getting the kind of views. And so that was a struggle, and even now is a struggle. Like, I wish I could say, and then something magical happened and I learned this and that, and now I beat perfectionism. I am able to make content and I'm able to make videos, with ease. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And the reason I am even putting this video out is because I haven't uploaded in like 2 months. And in that 2 months, I promise you, I've been doing work, um, developing ideas and writing scripts and editing for the next video. But it's just been really hard to find like that balance, the balance between getting, things right versus, coming across the finish line. And so this video for me really it's kind of more for me than it is for anyone else. I feel like I need to kind of allow myself to just make something, publish something, so that I can kind of get the ball rolling again. And that is a struggle that I've been dealing with. It's like a cycle, I'll work really hard on a video and then I'll make it. Then I will get kind of almost like burned out from like just intense amount of like work put into it. And then I will just like be unable to hit the publish button on the next thing for a while, and then it just happens over and over again. And so I'm not really sure what the actionable steps are from this point. It feels like currently I am putting out videos and editing videos through like sheer willpower. It's like, oh, like this is so hard, but like I'm just like pushing through, and just kind of like fighting through the perfectionism. Um, but I hope that there is more of a sustainable solution in the future where I don't feel like I'm almost like fighting with myself in order to get stuff out there. I know that there's this old saying, like, um, like better done um than not done. I don't know. Is that an actual phrase? Hang on. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, the phrase is better done than perfect. Better done than perfect. So that's the phrase. And I really wish that I can kind of do that. I really wish I can get to a point where I'm able to really, really accept that, and kind of allow myself to make things and release them without this fear of like feeling like, dang, like I didn't live up to this sort of invisible or like imaginary standard of like what it needs to be. And also for me to be able to kind of be okay whether people like it or don't like it as much. And that's something that I've been struggling with. And I'm curious, are you someone that struggles with perfectionism? Is that something that you feel like is something that you've dealt with? And if so, how have you, worked around it? Do you have any tips and advice for someone like me? I would genuinely love to hear from you all on how you're dealing with it. But yeah, in the meanwhile, thank you so much for listening to this kind of rant. And I hope you join me on my next video, whenever that may be. I hope sooner rather than later.